Stopping by the Q&A stage. If you don't know how this works yet, I'll move amongst you. If you have a question, come to the front, get my attention, put up your hand, tap me on the back, twig my ear, and we'll get through as many questions as we can. This is the last session for Collision 2018. So thanks to everybody who's come along for all the sessions. Hope you're all having a great time and will continue to do so for the rest of Collision in New Orleans. But please give a warm welcome for Chris Leacock, Wyclef Sean.
Hey.
Who's got a first question? And if nobody, there's something I want to ask you, Wyclef, just to get the ball rolling. When I was looking at your chapter 2 back in school, what struck me was so many of these talent show competitions, it's as much about being famous as it is about making music. And what was refreshing about the video that we watched was the fact that all those young people were playing in front of their peers and not in front of a television audience or a television camera. Tell us a little bit about the thinking behind that.
Well, I mean, that's really what it's about. When you play in front of your real peers and your real audience, they really don't care. You see what I'm saying? Like, your peers are very brutal, and your peers are brutal, but it's not personal. It's like it's brutal, but it's kind, you know? And so coming up as a young Fuji, if somebody was like, yo, I want to battle you in rapping, now all the peers gather around and they watching you. Now, if you lose, you go home knowing that you have to practice more. I think like reality shows, they just make everybody feels bad. Everyone feels like they want to be a star. But you have to understand there's something bigger than being a star. It's called having a real career. None of us was in reality shows. And we've been around since the 90s, and we here stronger than ever. And that's the next generation that we're trying to build.
Okay, we got a question from Hope.
Hi, Wyclef, this is for you. So less people are buying physical albums and prefer to listen to trending music on applications. Does this threaten the longevity of the artists?
Never. It doesn't threaten the longevity of the artist because we promote and we embrace this. The only thing that would affect us is if somebody can actually beam us through an app. You know what I mean? So you physically would have to take us and take our whole DNA on some Star Trek and just literally, y'all, me can recreate me as a laser. Y'all, me I recreate Wyclef.
Yeah. Just to add to that, it's important to know that when we have these tools, when we have these apps, streaming media, SoundCloud, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever, it's meant to augment real talent. So the artist isn't going to go away because you can still go and see somebody perform live. You know, the way that we consume the music has changed. So instead of being able to go to the CD store and buy a CD, buy a cassette, buy a vinyl, now we go online, we go on Spotify, you know, and in doing so, these mechanisms still support the artist monetarily, but it is meant to augment, you know, it's not going to replace.
Okay.
Hi. In 2016, Project Diane came out, which was a study that 0.002% of venture capital is invested in in companies founded by black women. And I was just hoping that maybe you could say something about that and maybe possibly give advice to a black woman founder who...
Tell us about your company.
Oh, right. I'm a cultural arts and sustainable development enterprise, social enterprise. So I was inspired after a trip to Ghana about the world water crisis, and then I learned about ceramic technology inspired by cultural arts. So my goal is that the communities can generate revenue from creating solutions for this problem of water and sanitation, but with handmade and cultural art products.
That sounds exciting. I'd like to hear some more.
Well, 100%. Well, proof of concept. Heads Music, the label that I'm partners with, is an all-female independent female label. The entire label ran from the CEO on down. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's more of that going on. I think there's strong women lawyers, strong women managers. There's a lot of big movement, and I think we all in the industry, we support this movement 3 trillion%.
Yeah, my label manager and label partner is a woman. My lawyer is a woman. Our manager for Major Lazer is a woman. So it's not that far-fetched, you know. And I think that, you know, there's going to have to be a continuing conversation, obviously, around diversity. But for us on stage here, we're minorities. We're not just black men in America. We are immigrants, you know. And So for us, we all look at the whole, the diversity issue every day. We have to confront it.
Okay. We got a question from Darren.
When did you start rapping?
I started rapping when I was like 9 years old. 9 years old. You rap?
No.
Not yet? What do you do?
Not much.
Nothing yet. Yeah, I understand. Give it time. You're definitely going to do a lot. You want to learn how to play guitar?
He's a good teacher. He'll give you some lessons.
I got you, man. You want to learn how to DJ?
I got you.
You want to learn? You know what?
really.
Take your time, man. You know what I mean? Just take your time. I like your swag. You honest, man. Or you could just be P. Diddy, just stand there like that. You know what I mean? Just make a lot of money. It's
And
up
take
to you.
half.
Yeah, take half.
Let's hear it for Darren. Come on, Aaron.
Hi, my name is Lex Nicole, and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm a culture curator, and one of the things that we focus on is figuring out how we can leverage entertainment to promote for social and economic issues. And my question for you guys is, and for you specifically, Wyclef, once you've built your roster of artists, what are some of the issues that you feel like you could promote leveraging your platform?
Well, once again, that starts off with my DNA, right? So chapter 1, we created the Fugees. Fugees is short for refugees. The first album is called Blunted on Reality, not the score. The first song on there is a poem addressed to the Ku Klux Klan. Letting them know that this is a new generation. We're not going for that anymore. What we do is within the new artists, we let them express themselves. So as you can see with the movement of Kendrick Lamar and everybody now understanding that it's okay to be brave and take your initiatives, we want to see more artists expressing themselves and not worried about, what is the media going to say in approaching it from a commercial aspect opposed to you saying what's in your heart. As Heads Music, we're not going to censor any artist when it comes to culture and relevancy. It's very important.
I agree.
So say all of us. James.
Hello. Wow. Hi.
Thanks, James. Next.
Man. Hi, my name is James. I'm an undergraduate student at UC Berkeley. And I am a founder of an organization, a campus organization that creates difference in poverty, society, health, and environment through design thinking. When did you know you wanted to make a change in the world?
I think that we all should try to be the change in the world, I think that as you grow and as you progress and you move through life, you move from a stage in life where, and I'm sure Clef can identify this, you move from a stage in life where you have nothing to lose. I used to throw parties and DJs in clubs and punch the security in the face because you got nothing to lose, right? And then you move into a stage where you have something to lose and you feel like you're afraid of what happens if I lose this? What happens if my career goes away? And then you get to a point where you realize, oh shit, I'm holding on and I've achieved certain things and now I can use the skills that I've learned over time to help others, And for me, like I was telling the round table earlier, there's two important things. The first thing, as people like us who are in a senior position of influence as creators, is to be able to identify skills and work with a team of people who have, and help them harness what they're good at and help them to leverage what they're good at and help them to be better at what they're not so good at and look at that inside as well. And the second thing too is to always demonstrate value and know how to create value. And once you can do those two things, I mean, everybody here could change something, It's just, and it's not that inspirational. It's very straightforward,
Hi, I'm Federico, and I wanted to ask you something related to that question, and also something that might relate a lot of people here. Being entrepreneurs, you hit a lot of rock bottoms and failures, and having two great successes on stage. I wanted to ask you if on your careers you have also hit them, and how have you handled them? What got you to your success?
Well, I mean, great question, but you got to be ready for the answer.
All right.
And the answer is you have to ask yourself, are you ready for failure? Right? Because it's not what you do when you fall, it's really what you do when you get back up. So if you're ready to get your ass kicked, if you're ready to get punched to the ground, and if you're ready for them to say, man, y'all ain't gonna be nothing, y'all need to get on that banana boat and go back to where you come from. if you're ready for this, then that means that you're on your way. You have to understand. My daughter says it, she's so dope. She says, well, Daddy, if you don't have haters, you're not popping. And what happens is, use us for an example because we the immigrant story, right? So for me, to come to America, I don't know what it means when somebody tells me that they can't make it, right? Because once I landed in here, I was in the projects, I made it because where I came from taking a donkey to school to know that I could take a train or a bus, right? And always understand this last thing before I let my brother speak, right? True success is not how other people measure it. It's how you measure what true success is for you. Never forget that, man.
No, 100%. I think that we live in a social media age now where everything is a highlight reel. You know, you only see the best parts and you don't see the work that people put in. You don't see the struggle that they go through. And I think that is important, you know, sometimes to share those stories of struggle and those stories of frustration because everybody went through it, you know, and don't feel for a second that, you know, it's just like all wins, you know, and it's all like success, you know. There's always going to be challenges, and like you said, you have to be prepared for the outset, that to know that those challenges are going to come, and even if you don't know how you're going to overcome them, but just be prepared to face those challenges.
Okay, we've got time for a few more questions. Anybody that's been waving and you're towards the back or the sides, try and let these people up towards the front. I just can't go too far with the microphone or too close to those. But next up is Rachel.
Hi, guys. So actually, piggybacking off of that question, as an artist, when you do hit those failures or you're sort of climbing this uphill battle, as an independent artist in an industry that sometimes seems to be about the party, the drugs, the all of that, when your mission and purpose is to heal the world and spread the good message, what do you do on a daily basis to keep that creativity flowing when you just feel pushback and do you just feel like you're just swimming upstream nonstop?
Man, you surround yourself with good people, you're gonna be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. I have a question for you. I build mobile technology to help people, police stop arresting and killing young men on the street. When you're trying to get a large amount of people's attention so you can do good, what's your advice on doing that and keeping people engaged?
I mean, coming from where we come from, man, it's like, it's rough, right? And it's kill or be killed. So I think that the more programs that we can put, one of the things that's dear to my heart is within these rural areas for us to make sure that through legislation and policy that we don't lose a lot of the programs that are in these rural areas, whether if it's the music programs, the sports program. Because I don't care, in any environment that you in, if it's not a positive environment, kids are going to get bored and they're going to find something to do. So I think that at the same time, we have to challenge legislation too, because I think that we, the people, at times we want to do it, but y'all voting for the wrong senators, the wrong congressmen. Like, really read about it, and I want the youth to really align yourself with senators, with deputies that you feel that are in line with your policies and what you're saying. Don't just give somebody a vote no more. It takes two parts. That's one part, and the other part is, I think, like private sector. You know what I mean? Like, we within the private sector, we can do more. We can't just complain. We got to physically put our money where our mouth is and really help programs.
Question. You gonna hold it? All right, cool. Paul Perkins, coming from Cincinnati, Ohio as well. I want to talk to you guys about the international music community. So I'm standing here as the only African American that does hip hop events in Beijing and in China, and I just want to ask you specifically how you guys plan to not only impact the international music community, because China, for instance, is coming into that into the music and into hip hop especially, and it's really booming over there. But like Kanye said, we culture, but we don't actually own our culture. So it's like all these brands and all these people, all the music that they're buying over there, like we're not in control over the music there. And that's why I do events over there to educate and to be in control of that. And so it's just like, what are you guys, or how do you plan to approach the international arts community and be in control over it?
I mean, I think we approach the international arts community every day. I think that, for me, what do you mean, from a creation standpoint, from a creator standpoint, or from a consumption standpoint?
Really more so for y'all, like how do you gonna, like China's a really, let's say, yeah, not so much progressive, but really it's hard for you guys to make money off your music there, right? Because it's the patents and how things are set up, copyright laws are very different than they are here in the United States or around the world. So it's like, in terms of getting in control of the community and the language barriers and all those things that have there, like how do you think we overcome that?
I need to get me a Chinese lawyer.
Nihoma, I can answer this for you. First of all, China is what? A communist what? Huh?
You said it's a communist government, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So then that means that in order to have laws, right, and internationals, laws are protected. When you go into China, China has within its own structure. Yeah. It's a communist, right? Yeah. So once again, copyrights, and when you say that Kanye say you're not in control of your culture, right? In control of your culture starts with you being in control of yourself. And the second part of you being in control of yourself is, once again, surrounding yourself with the right people so that you make the right business moves, right? Because at the end of the day, we're quick to say, we're quick as individuals, you know what I mean, to be like, to talk about failure, like, yo, this didn't happen because of this person or that person. But at the end of the day, if you surround yourself with the right people, you definitely can get in control of yourself. Like, nobody is telling us to sign a contract. They're not putting a pen in our hand. So if you have the right lawyers, they're like, look, if you want to be in ownership of this, right? So I'm in control of myself, right? I'm in control of my copyrights. Like, at the end of the day, all my masters are reverted to me at a certain time. Now think about that. Somebody had to give me that knowledge. So in the way that I got that knowledge was watching a lot of people fail and a lot of people fall. So I commend you on your China situation. I've been to China 15 times, man. Last time I went to China, I almost got arrested, dog. Because, you know, when I perform, I turn up and I took my shirt off. And it was like, you have broken the law. You're going to go to jail. I was like, I ain't coming back here, man.
I think just to add to that and to respond to what you were saying and what the other young lady was saying is that there's something that I call the good news network, you know? So for me, like now, there was a time when I was obsessed with listening to the news, but now I just want to hear good news. And if you surround yourself with people who are going to give you good news, if you involve yourself in projects that are going to bring good news in terms of, all right, you have an application or an initiative or whatever, you develop a philanthropic aspect to it. So now you can go out and you can do good in those communities. You can highlight good in the communities. So one way of combating the dark and the difficult things that are happening is by creating spaces or creating opportunities for good things to happen. You know, and that's one of the ways that we can combat, like you said, police brutality or lack of equity or inequality or lack of diversity.
My name is Amanda Gresham, and I actually have a feel-good thing that we started. It's United by Music North America. It's a program for musically talented artists that all have autism and any kind of special needs. And so we are providing them an opportunity to perform on stage, celebrating their differences and diversity, and we do that through music. And so with mentors such as yourself, people who are established in social justice and change, how can an organization like us, a nonprofit, we have made lots of progress. How can we reach out to people with major visual vantage points, such as yourself, to be able to spread the word about this and incorporating people with autism that are musically talented? Yes, I do.
You just ask, that's all. You ask person to person, you send an email, you send a... We live in an era now where it's easier now more than ever to get in contact with anybody you want to. So take advantage of that. Take advantage of social media. Take advantage of, you know, sending somebody an email, you know, running into somebody in person. You never know.
See how easy that was? And we both work with foundations. I mean, this is one of the things we do. You just put us alert, and we'll see what happens. Thank you.
Jason, What's up, brother? Jay Smith from New Orleans. In terms of DJing, does technology dilute talent on the ones and twos?
Nah. At the end of the day, people want to be entertained. And I used to look at it from a purist standpoint, right? So if you're a purist, yeah, cool. But at the end of the day, if you take a photo with your $1,000 camera or with a point and shoot or with your phone, and it captures the moment and it captures the emotion of what you were trying to record, does that make one picture less than another picture? Same thing. So for me, it's like, all right, cool. I came up DJing with turntables, you understand? And DJing was a no money sport. You would like buy equipment and you'd buy records. You'd go do a gig. You have to drag all your stuff there. You get a little bit of money. You put that money back into buying more records. You know, you was doing it because there was girls there. You understand? So you come up from that. Like, I can't hate on somebody who's using USBs or using Ableton or using a DJ controller. You know, last night I went to a party and the DJ was using a DJ controller and he was killing it. Everybody was singing along to all these songs. They were having a good time. So at any day, once people having a good time, they're having fun. Yes, it's important to be true to your process, but at the same time, I don't feel like we need to criticize one person because they're using a different approach than somebody else.
Okay,
This lady has a question for like 10 minutes now.
We have time for one or two more. Lucky Misty.
Thank you. Hey, so I'm a journalist, and I'm really interested in the way that AR and VR, the impact that it could have on a lot of different artistic disciplines. And you guys touched on it just a little bit in your panel earlier, which was awesome, by the way. But I was just wondering if both of you could speak to how AR and VR might take music and the engagement with music to the next level.
Well, I mean, let me see. Go back. So when the hologram came, and the Tupac, right? That was still 3D, right? And I was like, okay, the 4D conversion will take it all around, right? Then we moved on to, okay, this is what VR looks like. Right? This is what AR looks like. The debate still is, you know, does the human still want the physicality of the experience, or, you know? And yes, at times we do love the physicality most of the time. But at the same time, as a gamer, I don't mind just, you know, the idea of at times losing yourself. And just watching my daughter, and as the future move, excuse me, I think two things is going on. One is she's gonna want the physicality, and at times she's gonna want to escape. So I think as the future move, the combination of two is where it's going. I mean, I was saying I did a Shazam app with AR, and it was really incredible the way I invited people to the party. Literally through your phone, I pop up out of your phone. And like I said, it's the era of the Jetsons. I feel that it's going that way, but once again, nothing beats the idea of the physicality, right? And our physical being will always be there. But it was to what my brother was saying earlier. At the end of the day, if there's technology where if you're in Nigeria and I can't get to you, and there's a way that you can at least experience me at the time, I still think that's a great thing.
Nailed it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Priyanka. My colleagues and I are currently senior undergraduates at UC Berkeley, and we've completed a project called the Golden File, where we are securing underrepresented minorities, LGBTQ community, as well as women at technical product management and project management jobs at the top tech companies in the Bay Area. What we would like to know is, how do you maintain your values in an era where there are people trying to profit off of your ideas?
That's a good one. But at the end of the day, it's your idea. You know, it's going to come down to your execution. It's going to come down to your team. Again, you know, we keep coming back to it, but it's going to come down to the people that you surround yourself with. You know, in that we all at risk for putting an idea out there and presenting that idea to the world. And some things might fail and some things might be successful. But I think that what's really important is to believe in what you're doing and surround yourself with the right people that will prevent that from happening. And once you put yourself in the right position, I don't think there's methodologies that you can use to reduce vulnerability. And what you're talking about there is a vulnerability. And in the same way that we look at, you know, computer networks and we look at methodologies to reduce vulnerability in those computer networks, we can use methodologies to reduce vulnerability in our presentation of ideas and how we develop those ideas. And I think that a big part of that comes with, like I said before, surrounding yourself with the right people, looking for the right skill sets, associating with yourself with the right team, and just, doing it that way.
Folks, we are out of time. I know there was other people who were nodding at me and trying to ask a question, so I'm so sorry we didn't get to you. Thanks for stopping by the Q&A stage. Enjoy the rest of the day at Collision. But give it up for Chris and Clef. Guys, thanks so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.